You're watching the final match of the day here for Asia-Pacific. Doesn't mean the final match of the day overall, however, despite us moving at a very brisk pace here with the first region of the day. We're going to be shifting over to Europe and then Americas thereafter. And I think with a bit of an influx of Priest in Europe, it should, as is usually the case, take a little bit more time to move through those regions. But one thing I don't anticipate is that we will be slowing down with this last match of day. Glory taking a win, an unexpected win, actually, in my opinion, up against Rivius, means once again, with the Malagos Druid, he's going to be trying to take down Tom's Zoo deck. And if we want to get historical about this, Gia, I would say that traditionally, most versions of Druid have really struggled against most versions of Zoo.
Yeah, Glory got cut out for him, although it's worth saying that we did kind of say about the rogue matchup at one point, and then he still managed to turn it on its head. So I think this is still within the reach that an early Guardian Animals can still solve a lot of problems. However, opener for Tom does include a Flame Imp curve.
It's a good curve all around. It's got to be said for both the players. The ramp already, raring and ready to go for Glory with Lightning Bloom Overgrowth, as is often the play that players go for, just getting the ramp as soon as possible. But for Tom, it's no slouch in its own right, especially as soon as he's able to get this Flesh Giant down to less than 6 mana, or just discard it out of hand straight away, he can get the Hand of Gul'dan discarded as well.
I love this from Tom for 2 reasons. One, because he can still just discard the Hand of Gul'dan with the Nightshade Matron in the near future. And 2, because he holds on to Cult Neophyte for what he knows will be a much more important turn later on. When your opponent goes Lightning Bloom into Overgrowth, you're almost certain that they're not going to play a high impact spell that turn. They're just getting the ramp away because it'll be permanent after that turn.
Glory with seemingly a bit of a quandary here. I was looking very much at just Slam, Speaker, Gidra, take out the Flame. Pretty simple in terms of spending your mana, but I guess he maybe is looking at saving it for a bigger combo on like turn 7 for a board clear with the swipe.
It feels greedy because he's already got 2 other 7-cost cards in hand, but this to me looks like now that he's hit the Flame Imp, he's setting up for a swipe turn instead, because again, he didn't have a turn 6 lined up, or rather 6 mana turn lined up.
Yeah.
And it actually will line up very well against what Tom has to offer this turn.
Yeah, it works out very, very well. Swipe, Hero Power, follow up with the Guardian Animals. Even with Flesh Giants going back to the hand, it's still a little ways off before the power play comes in.
You feel a little bit bad about top decking Innervate after you took that Hero Power, but because he held on to Gidra, that's still a play that he can make.
Yeah, it would mean, what, he would get +4/+4, so it would be a 5/8, but he would lose 5 of the health in attacking, and so he'd have a 5/3 at the end, which is easily answerable by Soulfire, so I don't begrudge Glory for going for this line.
No, it still puts a minion on board, and I'm not sure what this Innervate is doing in the very near future.
That's true.
And then the swipe could have gone face instead in that case. Something to scoff at against Zoo. And this is the nightmare outcome.
No, this is the dream. Now he gets to go Gidra, Innovate for 1 mana for the +1/+1 buff. Actively good for Glory. I mean, was that not the play?
Actually, it probably would be the play just to get something on board and deal with this damage coming down. Of course, it's not good, but it seemed like he kind of had to go for it. Whereas now,
he gets double Innovate Gidra Guardian Animals here is I think probably what he was setting up for a humongous push onto the board here. He saved it for a long time. He could have thrown this down as early as turn 3, saved it all the way until 10 mana, and is, whether or not you think he's rewarded for it in the end, overall, it's definitely a powerful play at this moment.
Yes, I definitely missed that he was already going to have 10 mana available this turn if there was double Innervate, so that makes more sense. Of course, we have to end that Glory is not running the Plague Threshers, which this is one of the matchups where you actually do really want it in the list, but instead he has these Anubisoth defenders still on the primary because this is game 1.
And while it is game 1, it's looking like it might just be game over for Tom right at the start. This Ghidra going absolutely nowhere right now.
But look at these Dark Glares! Free mana, he's back up to 6 mana. Oh, but no other damaging effects.
Discard Hand of Gul'dan? Is that where we're at? You just take the 1 out of 5?
I think so. If he doesn't clear this Ghidra, he's just dead.
Play a Giant first to increase your odds, sure, and then hope to hit Flame Imp or Raise Dead.
Alright, that's a miss.
But he just missed, and that's game over. Game 1 to Glory in the blink of an eye.
That really just... half of that game went right over my head, I have to admit. It was so bliss fast.
Yeah, so much to analyze right from the get-go. I think, you know, we can agree for the most part from Tom's side that I think he was approaching the matchup in the correct way, you know, discarding the Giant at first to make room for discarding the Hand of Gul'dan. After that, it gets definitely a little bit more messy. The real difficult turns there were for Glory, where on 2 very discrete turns, or 3 discrete turns actually, he had good opportunities to play Ghidra, passed it up on every single one of them, because he was clearly saving up for that one big 10-mana swing turn right at the end. And it was a very interesting way to approach the matchup. Definitely the idea of tanking damage first and then recuperating the board afterwards. But I feel like a lot of the time in Hearthstone at the moment, that is the game plan. You have to use your health as a resource very, very often at the moment, whether it's Tempo Mage saving up for a big Apprentice turn, Rogue saving up for a big Questing Edwin turn, Druid saving up for a big Ghidra or Guardian Animals turn and ramping up in the meanwhile. It's definitely an interesting way to play the matchup, and I think most players would actually have played it differently to Glory there, but it's still a cool way to see it play out.
It definitely sounds more like the manifesto for how Zoo should play their deck, but Glory employed that in a very, very effective way. Just kind of noting that if you have an 8-attack Wind Fury, an additional turn against Zoo, you just win. And with 11 health, that's a very reasonable assumption to make. Tom had not taken enough damage to have that many Flesh Giants active. And his only out really was being able to rush with the Magic Carpet. I mean the Animated Broomstick, but that was not drawn.
Tom giving us a quick 4 there, I think indicating that was, a full 4-card keep there from Glory, which generally is bad news for the Zoo. I think we can agree on that. Even the Neophyte here doing nothing in terms of slowing down the ramp, because Breath of Dreams is able to come down, Overgrowth next turn, Overflow, Malagos, however you want to break it down. It's an insane start for Glory.
It truly, truly is. Tom has curved out as best he could, but of course we see the clap.
You know what? Language Hacker can eat his heart out. There's nothing that compares to a salty APAC clap. Not even close.
Okay, this is not 100% straightforward for Glory, though, because that is a Dark Glare that just hit the board. If Glory goes Overflow now, he's not Overgrowth now, he's not guaranteeing himself a way to deal with it. There was a genuine consideration to go for Twilight Run.
Okay, sure.
Of course, this gives himself more out. Of course, if he draws Lightning Bloom or Innervade, dragons can come down immediately. If we see Malagos Moonfire next turn, that's looking like GG already.
Okay, he's going with the plan of disrupting the spells yet again. You know, there's a lot of cheap spells in the deck. He may be hoping to go for Lightning Bloom, Innovate, Crystal Power, Moonfire, whatever. It's likely to be a powerful play, sure.
Oh, and Nubasoth is double! That's so clutch for Glory here. I was gonna say, Tom actually didn't look like he was in that bad of a spot because Glory was drawing expensive things and Tom had so much pressure on board, but double defenders just gives Glory all the breathing room in the world.
It's just nothing. He needs like Flame Imp to be able to start activating this Dark Glare. I mean, it's given him a free tap every turn, but that's not even making a difference here. Look at these swipes!
If Tom had gotten Raise Dead, it could have been a hugely different story with the disease volume down early, but yeah, I'm not seeing it anymore for Glory. One swipe mops this up super cleanly. One swipe gets enough done, 2 swipes is just GG.
Yeah, that's just going to be a very clean way to clear things up. No matter how you want to go about it, use the swipe, don't use the swipe. It just does not really matter at this point.
Okay, Tom doing his best to refill, of course. Flash Giants aren't even that cheap by now if they come off the top. Oh my gosh! Another swipeable target.
Yeah. Oh, and Omu as well! What? What?
This is... Okay, the Omu Germinate turn is happening.
So he needs a cheap spell, right? To really make it pop? If he wants to go like Malagos first and then something else along with it, it's I mean, it's insane. It doesn't matter whether or not it's the perfect turn. It's a good enough turn to win.
You too will bloom.
I'm just gonna sit back and watch the show now.
Teacher's Pet, swipe, and then just play Ysera?
See, powerful, like every other option that Glory has this turn.
It does indeed.
I mean, the real kicker here is he just puts so many taunts in the way, develops so many stats. Not the flashy big Malagos combo because, as you mentioned, he didn't have a cheap spell to get the second spell burst, but it just does not matter.
Okay, Hand of Gul'dan can be discarded. A 3-drop can be found off of the Vulture.
Okay, so are we looking at any Raise Dead outs? Infinite Griffins is what Tom needs off of the 3-drop minion pool and not just 3-drop Beast. But okay, Broom?
Broomstick? Raised Dead? Okay.
Okay.
There's something. Not much, but something.
Choice is an illusion.
That's pretty good.
Okay, how much can he actually clean up here? 1143 into this? Okay.
If he gets a bad beast, he can clear up a lot, right?
Oh, but the other Omu sticks... I mean, he can survive, but he doesn't end up ahead on board. It's actually a huge deal that the 3 drops that Tom summoned were not very great at all.
Yeah, it really is. Oh! Oh my god. I mean, everything here is disgusting. Ysera into drawing dragons, Gidra overflow, it all ends the game.
Yep. One way or another.
This is sandbox mode at this point for Glory. The rules of Hearthstone no longer apply. Okay, now the dragons are coming through for him. This is a bit more like it.
I'm racking my brain for any type of out. Any disaster dragon that Glory can get, but it's not a thing. Tom has 0 outs.
Yeah, it's not a thing. Nosdormu isn't even a possibility anymore due to the recent hotfix to to the Ysera Dream Portals. Double Wolf Rider, even going as out there as you possibly want to go. We can just see Gift of the Wild, if nothing else, will close things out. And Glory, after a couple of unsuccessful weeks, is able to take down tom60229 on the zoo 2-0 with his Malagos Druid. Not the way that I was anticipating that one to go, but for Glory, my heart goes out to him because he has had an up and down day with some pretty heartbreaking moments. And to get the win here, go through to the semi-finals on Sunday, it's a big deal for his chances of getting Division A.
It definitely is, and it would be a huge surprise if Glory did not end up in Division A. For Tom, though, and Glory, one thing they have in common is they both brought decks that Sottle thinks are trash. But towards the end there, they were both doing some incredibly broken things. These decks, I have to say, operate on a large amount of variance. I do think that some players would have a stronger preference towards consistent decks, but this to specialist where they can only play this deck, it does mean that the players have a lot of confidence in them. And note that it's not just Glory on Druid, unlike Tom being the only player on Zoo. Surrender, a player of that caliber who won last week, is also bringing Druid. So we can't knock this at all.
Yeah, and if you put your ear to the ground now, G, you should be able to see Sottle smashing his head against the keyboard, angrily typing out, "Of course it was good. It was double Breath of Dreams, overgrowth into the perfect curve." Which, yes, that is why the deck is good. And that's one of the reasons why I think Malagos has a place is because of the Breath of Dreams overall. But taking a look overall at how things shook out today, we can see that for one player in particular, it was a nice, easy route through to the semi-finals. Chonsu, very possibly booking his second spot in a finals after his runner-up spot to Bank Yugi in week 1. He's playing some very solid Hearthstone. I think it's fair to say, out of everyone today, I think I liked what I saw from Chonsu the most, with most of the other players having a couple of weird moments for sure along the way.
I would have to agree. And Chonsu also being very considerate of the European region, seeing as he had a very, very quick run up to the semi-finals. Took to Twitter, ask, is Europe even awake yet? Because we have had a very quick day. Europe, my dinner is happening at the right time.
Congratulations, Gia. I'll be able to have a timely lunch as well here in England. But taking a look at the matches that we have coming up tomorrow, finally, our first look at Alan 870806 after his incredible performance in Masters Tour Bucharest that got him his spot here in Grand Masters. We all have very high expectations of him, both on the casting desk and also amongst the pro community. He's definitely one of the players who seems to have broken through to the European and American practice groups to earn a lot of respect amongst the entire global community. And obviously with Blitzchung, Bank Yugi, and Dawn as well, all following up. It's, for me, going to be a great day of Hearthstone, seeing whether or not Bank Yugi can make a repeat performance through to the semi-finals.
And also, I love to see the variety in this second top 8. Alan with the only priest that will be seeing the specialist weekend in APAC at least. For Blitzchung, he has that Tempo Mage, Bank Yugi with his signature, by this point, Highlander Mage, and of course, Dawn being the third representative of that secret Burgle Rogue, which had a 50% success rate today, with us sending Chonsu through to the semifinals, but Rivius unfortunately falling that little bit short. I'm going to be very excited to see all those decks clash against each other tomorrow.
As am I. I think that was like my biggest criticism, really, of Specialists as a format, is that we had to see the same deck over and over again, whereas this time couldn't be further from the truth. Wide range of archetypes, wide range of tech choices as well. I think it's going to make for a great day of Hearthstone tomorrow to find out who's going to be joining Glory and Chonsu there in the semi-finals to be played out on Sunday. And despite not even having hit the 3-hour mark here for APAC in terms of the broadcast length, that is us already all finished for the day. Yep, casters love Specialist, confirmed. Please send us all your hate mail via Twitter. But with that said, it is going to be Europe with Raven and Sottle up next. Very different metagame in Europe with a few more priests knocking about, I'm sure much to their delight, but that's their problem. We are all done here in APAC for today. So while we will see you tomorrow for Group B to be played out, we're going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy Europe, which will be coming up right after this.